Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Assets of Value podcast. Today, on December 28th, and every day, we connect to share our insights and perspective on crypto, Web3, and NFT topics. We are the founders of Assets of Value, a Web3 research organization. Our podcast is not to be taken as legal or financial advice. Rain check, fellow Web3 travelers. Bitcoin is trading below 16.5k, and it's been a pretty bad day for altcoins as most of the altcoins dropped from the trendline support. For example, I'm looking at Polygon Matic, the biggest layer 2 solution, has dropped its trendline resistance and trendline support at the same time. Polygon is trading at 78 cents and the trendline support was around 79 cents. We know that 2022 is coming to an end and a new year awaits. We are preparing a roundup of the year 2022 and hopefully it will be the next podcast session we'll be doing. But as a teaser, what should you buy in 2023? That's what we are doing right here. We are trying to find assets that are extremely undervalued, invest in them, and exit when the assets become fairly valued and overvalued. So, what should be the tokens or coins you should not be buying next year? Although it seems out of the ordinary, we are not discussing about what to buy in 2023 because we'll be doing a separate podcast on that too. But let's focus on what not to buy in 2023. Just a gentle reminder, none of the coins that are discussed has a flaw in fundamentals. It's just related to tokenomics and events that might happen in 2023. So let's go. First coin is Optimism Networks token OP. So you might be thinking, what? Optimism is making great moves, right? They are adopting more dApps, they are onboarding more developers. Yes, that's true. Although there's a slight problem with Optimism. The problem with Optimism is related to its tokenomics. Let's take a small look at Optimism tokenomics. Currently, Optimism is trading at 89 cents, little shy of 90 cents, with a 5.5% drop on daily. It has a market cap of around $193 million dollars and a fully diluted valuation of $3.8 billion. Dollars. Yes, you guessed it right. The circulating supply of Optimism is only $214 million, dollars, while the total supply or the maximum supply is more than $4.2 billion. Dollars. That means less than 5% of the supply is in circulation right now, and the rest of the supply will be released in the upcoming years. The important factor is that Optimism, the token OP, will be running at a 1.1% daily inflation throughout the next year. 1.1% daily inflation is terrible for any project because then you have a constant and consistent selling pressure, and given the year 2023 is devoid of any major positive sentiments or positive narratives, we might see a potential downward trend from OP token. And OP is already trading 60% down its all-time high of $2.2, which it made in August 2022, like 5 months ago. And the all-time low sits around 40 cents, which is a pretty good valuation for Optimism because then the market cap will be sitting around $90 million. Dollars. And I think for a project of Optimism's potential, 50 to $90 million valuation is fair at this point. Anyways, let's switch to the next token, which is Steppen. We know that Steppen was a revolution back in the bull run. The walk to earn, move to earn regimes had outpassed and surpassed the play to earn regime. And I remember people making a lot of money just by walking using Steppen shoes, and the NFTs were selling like hot pancakes. But later in 2022, the popularity has been dwindling down, and Solana as a gaming blockchain is continue to suffer because we have some important news right here that two of the most important Solana NFTs are moving away from Solana. Yes, I'm talking about DGODs and Utes. These are the blue chips in Solana ecosystem, and now the project owners are worried whether Solana will exist in the next bull run. Yes, that's true. Solana is a multi-billion dollar project with big backing from Alameda, FTX, which are down, by the way, and of course, SPF. And Solana developers are moving to other blockchains. However, I see it as a potential for another fast, cheap blockchain with high NFT capabilities and capacities be the leader of this upcoming NFT run. It could be Sui, it could be Aptos, and the third coin, maybe third and final coin we'll be talking about is DYDX. The popular trading exchange DYDX is famous for its user interface, famous for its switch from Ethereum into Cosmos. Now it's running as an independent chain in Cosmos, but it's not so famous for its tokenomics. The market cap of DYDX is around $150 million, and the circulating supply is around $140 million. But almost 77% of the total supply is logged and will be beginning to unlock on February 1st, 2022. There's a small unlock happening, which is almost 0.5% of the total supply, around $6 million, happening in January 17, although the major unlocks will be starting on February 2nd. And these includes treasury holdings, mining rewards, which are essentially selling pressure. And investors are yet to receive almost 30% of the allocation. Now, let's take a look at which coins are the worst performers of 2022. Ranks at number one, Terra Luna, Dogecoin's favorite baby after his own baby Luna. The year to date performance is 99.99% down. We know what happened with Luna back in May. The second token, the least performing token after Luna, is SBF's baby FTX token, which is FTT, and the performance is negative 98%. It's a close call, but Solana comes next with a performance of 93.35% downwards, and Axie Infinity, the most favorite, the most popular, the ever crowned gaming project, has performed negative 93%. Finally, it's Sandbox at number 5, which has performed negative 92%. Sand had pumped a lot due to the resurgence and emergence of metaverse trend. And I remember metaverse coins pumping crazily almost every day in the peak of the bull run. I remember coins that contains the word meta pumping 5x to 10x over a week. Some even did miraculously pump 50x over a week. Well, those were the good times. But you'll think, is it just crypto? Are we seeing all this negativity just because crypto is doing something bad? No way. Because the Web2 companies, be it tech field, be it hotel and industries, be it sports, all of them are doing pretty bad too. Let's look at some figures. And speaking of entertainment platforms, Netflix is below 59% from its all time high, and Spotify joins the list with 80% down from the all time high. Snapchat is 90% down, and now you get an idea that even tech stocks, even entertainment ones, didn't perform and they dropped massively. What about automotives? World's richest man, Elon Musk, and his car company, Tesla, is down 72% from its all time high. The popular communication platform, Zoom, is down 89% from its all time high. I have a whole list of projects that are down more than 90%, 95% from its peak, but we are not going to do that. It was just a humble attempt to say that it is not just crypto. The whole market, including the stock market, including the housing market, were overvalued. And market, it has only two forces. One is demand, one is supply. When there's enough demand, the project pumps. When there's not enough demand, investors panic. They're just looking for liquidity and some cash in hand because they see that their investments have been plummeting in the winter. Enough of the negativity. Amidst all the chaos, gold is up 0.02% since the beginning of the year. Now, let's be honest, right? We know that 0.02% isn't worth much, but what gold did notably saved your money. If you had invested, say, $1,000 in gold in the start of the year, you will still have $1,000. While if you had invested $1,000 in S&P, you would have only $800 left because S&P is down 20% since the start of the year. So why is gold important? Gold is a historically high performing asset. You could say it's the most preferred asset of all the central banks other than dollar, of course. It has been valued high ever since the beginning of modern man. It has rarity because gold is not easily found as other metals. It has scarcity because there's more demand than the supply. And there's value which is inherent because people believe that when things go wrong, the first choice is cash and second is gold. We have seen China buying up huge amount of gold from the market. Maybe China is anticipating something down the road. We don't know for sure. But how it is related to Bitcoin? People say that Bitcoin is an inflation hedge, which is a wrong way to measure it. Because what's a hedge? Hedge is something that you use to overcome something. For example, if a certain asset is to be considered as an inflation hedge, it should behave exactly opposite to the inflation because the price of the asset should go up when the inflation goes up so that people or the investors can cope up with the inflation, and the price of the asset should go down as the inflation goes down because then only the investors can buy up their fair share of the asset. But we know that inflation, let's say core CPI inflation is up almost 7% over the year, while the gold is up only 0.02%. That means gold did not beat inflation, it just saved you from losing more capital. Nevertheless, is Bitcoin the right asset that could replace gold? I'm not saying Bitcoin can replace gold, but let's take informative guesses. Imagine you are holding a pile of gold in your home. At night, some burglar breaks in and takes away your gold. It could happen, it's a fairly possible scenario. Secondly, you're traveling with all your life savings and it gets stolen or it gets lost. It's also a possible scenario. Thirdly, when you are living in a highly autocratic country, the government or the autocracy or the ruler can capture and seize your gold because it's physically present. Fourthly, gold can be faked. And finally, we know that lots of governments hold gold, lots of big tycoons hold gold. What if all these people decide to sell their gold for liquidity? Although it's not a possible scenario, it has some probability which is more than zero. Greater than zero probability is always considered a possibility, even though the chances are pretty slim. Now let's look at Bitcoin. We know that there's just 21 million of Bitcoin. Will anyone steal your Bitcoin from you? No, unless you give them your seed phrase. Can anyone fake Bitcoin? No, it's verified and counted by miners each second. Can anyone seize your Bitcoin? No, it's not possible because it is decentralized. Bitcoin miners do not obey any government orders. More than that, to hold Bitcoin, you don't need to do a KYC. You just have to download a wallet. If you can buy a ledger, well and good. If you can buy other hardware wallets, well and good. You can just hold Bitcoin in any of them for free. There's no need of KYC. There's no need of revealing your assets to governments because you can just hold it. It gives you the best portability. It gives you the best durability because you can just carry your seed phrase. You can just even remember it and nobody will steal it from you. It's highly portable because it's not existing in a physical form, rather in a virtual form. I'm from a developing nation, and to buy gold, you have to pay taxes here. I'm talking about a 28% tax. Who will be willing to buy gold and lose 28% of the face value of their investment the moment they purchase it? Now, the average investors are left with one choice. They can either hold their cash during the winter or they can buy gold and lose a major portion on taxes. They can also try digital gold, but it's an added risk because you are not in possession of the gold. And what if the company collapses? Or what if it gets hacked or something? So the only realistic option for all the people, all the investors who chooses to buy gold but is unable to get it due to taxes or due to some laws, the best bet they have will be Bitcoin. It has scarcity, it has portability, it has durability, it has every elements that a good asset has. Truth be told, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I have my fair share of altcoins, Bitcoins in my portfolio. And this is not a financial advice, but I believe that the time will come when people will look Bitcoin as an alternative for gold. They will see holding your assets with you in an unbreakable form is the best going forward. Well, that's it for today. It has been super fun. I'm glad you were able to jam with us today. That's it until the next time. Thank you, everyone, and wishing you a successful year ahead.